Hey friends, so a new setup today, which is great because I don't have to glue the camera up on the ceiling, but I'm balancing a little bit of different light and I'm still not quite sure what you can see because I'm not a great cinematographer and looking through the view lens, and I won't know until I'm looking at editing stuff. But we're going to have fun today. All right, so today with Cooking with the German. Okay, and I know that is so ridiculous, but I have fun doing it. So I'm going to keep doing it. It makes me laugh. And with making me laugh, I was talking about needing a mental health day because I am dealing with a bunch of stressful things that has been presented that is derailing me a little bit. And I know that I'm trying to do too much in a period where I really need to just focus on what I can and am able to do. Because if I keep pushing forward, I am going to burn myself out and be even less functional. And I need to also keep in mind that with redoing my systems, that part of my system neglect in the past is ignoring my limits, right? I'm ignoring my boundaries and my limits, and I often push forward to do things in periods of just utter anxiety and exhaustion, and it just puts me out of commission for days and weeks. And because I'm trying to prove something to myself or worth, and I don't need to get into any of that now. I do want to feel productive, and with that, I am going to address part of my gardening goals. Some of you know with my jalapeno peppers, I normally expect between 4 and 6 fruit per plant, and I planted, I think, 12 to 15 plants this year, which has resulted in a lot of jalapenos for us. And I have let them hang out for my last two. These are from my last 2 harvests. And I could not be more tickled by how much production I've gotten. And I have 2 varieties. One is Mammoth, which there are some that really live up to its name. And I forget the name of the ones that are supposed to be a little bit more mild, but they develop a little bit smaller, and they also, as their sugars develop, so does the color. So my goals, as some of you know from my garden tour, I talked about I used to have a recipe, and it was something that Caleb and I really liked. And all I could remember is that we used the cabbage cheddar because of my lactose intolerance. I used cornmeal and sage and cumin were the seasoning for it. But what went in beyond that, I don't remember. And I also think I baked them before, but I'm also not quite sure. So with that being said, I am going to just try a couple variations today, and I'm going to both bake and fry. If I can find the toaster oven, that would be ideal. And yeah, so I'm just going to get to work and do a little prep, and I'll maybe share what I'm doing along the way. So I have 39 jalapenos, which can you see? This might be a mistake. 39. So I think I'm going to divide them up into groups of 4. And then from those groups of 4, I've got some baking sheets. I'm going to bake them, and then I'm going to fry them as well. And let's just put together a base of cornmeal. So with there being so many, I am going to use a rough 2 cups of cornmeal, So I am using roughly 4 ounces of Cabot cheddar, and then I am going, and I just cubed it down roughly, and the rest of the breakdown is going to come from using a potato masher. Now, if you have a food processor, that would make this process a little bit easier, but I'm using with what I have in front of me. Okay, so fun find. I remember that we had a mixer, so I'm going to use that. So since I have a mixer, this might make the process a little bit easier with working in a couple of things. Mostly just 1 clove of garlic. And then as far as cumin goes, I am going to add, I think I'm going to start with a tablespoon and then do about 2 teaspoons of sage. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of salt and some black pepper. Alright, so this smells wonderful, and we are on the right track. So I always love the pairings of cornmeal with sage. I don't know what it is. It's super comforting for me. And then the cumin with the jalapeno is going to be great too, I think. Now I am going to heat up oil because I want it to get to roughly 350 to 400 for frying. Frying. Now I'm going to add 1 egg to my mix because I don't know what I'm really getting into. If I might need, I will definitely need a second. I don't want it to be super wet and doughy, but I also don't want it to be super crummy either. I want it to be loose and gritty, and it just barely comes together when you press it, which we might sort of be at now. Alright, so now is probably also the most tedious part. It's going to be prepping the jalapenos themselves. I was looking for, I think what the perfect tool for this process is actually the little orange handle pumpkin carvers that you get in those little kits every year. I remember using those to clear out jalapenos in the past. It's, again, perfect. This year I think I'm going to use a butter knife. So I think I'm going to just create a little assembly line and put my compost aside. Here's my jalapeno massacre. And then I did find my little pumpkin carver. I used it for like literally the last 4, but at least I found it. And I'm just gonna clean some of this stuff up and then get to popping the stuffing. Now, I am just about done here. The thing about keeping the filling crumbly, except for whenever you press it together, allows for it to like fall further into the, I'm gonna call it the canal of that jalapeno itself. And it's just easier to pack a little bit. I will say that I think I'm just as an experiment, I am going to just put a block of cheese in what will be my last one. And then I'm going to cap it with the popper filling. So that way when I'm frying it, my cheese hopefully doesn't spill out everywhere. All right, so I'm gonna put that one aside, and this is what I've got. So I'm just going to move over here and get to frying. So you get to see I'm wearing my pajama pants today, but I'm gonna try and keep the oil evenly spaced out between whatever I'm adding in. I don't want anything too crowded that it can't easily move around. But let me work my way through these and I'll show you the rest. Alright, so things have cooled down a little bit, and I thought I'd start with one of the sweeter ones. It's a good balance. It could be a little cheesier, it could be a little spicier. I'm a little bit nervous about the mammoth ones. Mostly because the heat kicks in later, or right now. And that's the benefit of homegrown. And now I'm gonna switch to the cheesy filled one that I made, and I'm gonna zoom in on that to see what that realistically looks like. So I waited for it to cool down a little too long. A little disappointing with how much cheese is there and then my stuffing cap here, but that might be a more appropriate cheese to jalapeno ratio. With a little bit of cumin. It's so good. Well, I did get some oil on my shirt, but thanks for sticking with me as I went through some self-care and sharing how that looks for me today. Let me know down below what self-care looks like for you. What do you like to do on a mental health self-care day in your world? I clearly stayed in some comfy clothes and probably going to indulge and freeze in whatever we're not gonna eat, and then hop into bed. Maybe I will dial into video game land and play some games with Caleb, and that might be what my day looks like. But yours could be different. I'd like to know what self-care looks like for other people who are watching. I think that's it. So remember to grow from where you are, and I will share more with you soon. Cheers.